Chapter 2, Clubs and Crowns. Pearl's blood didn't actually boil. That's just a way of saying that she felt so angry she got hot all over. The morning newspaper lay neatly folded on the corner of the table. Staring right at her from the front page was Pearl's arch enemy, Victoria Mulberry. The photo showed Victoria's smiling face, her braces looking like railroad tracks. Thick glasses were perched on the end of her nose, and her frizzy hair was pressed beneath a baseball cap embroidered with the words, "Welcome Wagon." It wasn't unusual for Victoria to get her photo in the paper. She was always achieving one thing or another. She'd organized a search party when Mr. Mutt's dog went missing. She'd picked up garbage in the park after the storm of the century. She'd even raised money to help the seniors buy pudding for Pudding Day. Those were nice things to do, but Pearl knew the truth. The real person behind those deeds was Victoria's mother, Mrs. Mulberry, who'd made it her life's work to get her daughter's photo in the paper. Pearl dropped her pancake sandwich and reached across the table. With sticky fingers, she unfolded the newspaper and read the following article aloud. Local girl wins award. The International Welcome Wagon Society has announced that Victoria Mulberry, age 10, is to become the newest member of the Red Wagon Club. This is a very important club, Victoria's mother, Martha Mulberry, said. Only a few people are chosen each year. Victoria is a role model for kids everywhere. When asked why she was a role model, Victoria replied, "I don't know," and went back to reading her book. Victoria earned this honor because she gets straight A's and she doesn't get into trouble like a certain other girl in our town, Mrs. Mulberry added. The ceremony will be held at 6 p.m. Friday at Town Hall. A representative from the International Welcome Wagon Society will award Victoria with a special crown that is worn only by Red Wagon Club members. The entire town is invited to watch the ceremony. Cookies and punch will be served. Pearl stared at the page. "She doesn't get into trouble like a certain other girl?" she repeated. "That's so rude." "She probably wasn't talking about you," Ben said. He drank some orange juice. "Of course she was talking about me." Pearl had a reputation. She was the town troublemaker, and everyone knew it, even Ben. Why are they giving her a crown? That's crazy. Who wears a crown? I don't know, a princess? Yeah, well, Victoria's no princess. Pearl pushed the newspaper aside, then sat back in her chair. A bad feeling washed over her, as if a gray rain cloud had settled on top of her head. Victoria's probably going to wear her crown all over town. So what if she does? Ben asked. Pearl frowned. Ben clearly didn't understand what it was like to grow up in a small town with only a few friends in your grade. When you were labeled the local troublemaker, you couldn't get rid of that title, no matter how hard you tried. Just once it would be nice to see her own name on the front page, and not followed by the words mayhem, disaster, or trouble. "Pearl," Mrs. Petal called from downstairs, "please take a pancake to your Aunt Gladys before you leave." "Okay," Pearl said. Then she glanced at the stove clock. "We'd better hurry or we'll be late." While Pearl and her parents lived above the dollar store, her great-aunt Gladys lived in the apartment beneath. It wasn't a typical damp, cold basement with spiders, cobwebs, and mice. Gladys's place was warm with a soft carpet, floral wallpaper, and 2 well-fed wiener dogs. The only thing odd was the smell. "What is that?" Ben asked, scrunching up his nose. "Mentholated ointment," Pearl explained. "She rubs it all over because she has arthritis." Aunt Gladys sat in a comfy chair, working a pair of knitting needles. The joints in her fingers were swollen and knotted. A ball of yellow yarn lay on her lap. Another waited at her feet. In fact, balls of yarn were scattered everywhere, as if a yarn factory had exploded in her living room. A soft click-clack arose from her wooden needles. "Hi, Aunt Gladys. I brought your breakfast," Pearl announced. She pushed aside some yarn and set the plate on a TV tray. "Thank you." Aunt Gladys looked up from her project, which appeared to be a hat. "Who is this nice young man?" "This is my friend Ben," Pearl said. "Hello," Ben said. Then he looked around. Wow! Gladys had knitted practically everything in the apartment. The sofa cover, the wall hangings, the pillows, her clothes, and her slippers. She'd even covered her eyeglasses in yarn. The two rotund wiener dogs, who were snoozing on the couch, wore matching knitted sweaters. "You sure like to knit," Ben said, giving each dog a little pat on the head. "I am the queen of knitting," Gladys told him. Then she reached under her chair and pulled out a small silver crown. She plopped it on top of her white curls. "Queen of the Knitting Guild" was engraved across the front. "Isn't it pretty?" "Yes," Pearl said, "it's very pretty." As she wondered what Victoria's crown would look like, she got that rain cloud feeling again. Aunt Gladys slid her project off the needles, tied a knot, and snipped the yarn with a pair of scissors. Then she handed it to Ben. "A gentleman should always have a nice hat." "Thank you," Ben said. He politely pulled the hat onto his head. Pearl wanted to giggle. The hat did not match Ben's fancy clothes. When she first met him, his sneakers had been brand new, his pants perfectly pressed, and his shirt spotless. He was looking a bit wrinkly after a few days with his grandfather, but his clothes were still nicer than the stuff she got at the dollar store. "We gotta go," Pearl said. She kissed her great-aunt's forehead. "Remember to eat your pancake." "Bye-bye," Aunt Gladys said with a little wave. The wiener dogs raised their heads, shifted position, and went right back to sleep. Pearl led the way up the stairs and through the store, where her parents were unpacking boxes. "Did you see the article about Victoria?" Mrs. Petal asked. Her box was full of pencils. "The ceremony is tonight," Mr. Petal said. His box contained sunglasses. "I think we should all go." "Do we have to?" Pearl asked with a groan. "Yes, we do," Mrs. Petal said. "It's nice to support our fellow Buttonvillers." "If you'd done something special, you'd want people to support you." "But I have done something special," Pearl thought. She glanced at Ben. They'd both done tons of special things, thanks to Dr. Wu. Unfortunately, no one could ever know. "Thanks for breakfast," Ben said just before he and Pearl headed out the door. "Have fun at the worm hospital," Mr. Petal called. Pearl smiled, revealing the big gap between her teeth. So what if Victoria got to be in the Red Wagon Club? Nobody but Ben and Pearl got to work as apprentices in a secret hospital for imaginary creatures. But deep inside, Pearl still thought it would be nice if people in town thought she was more than just a troublemaker.